Welcome back, all you beautiful people. Well, some of you may be beautiful. Welcome back to the Purpose Pod, driving you forward with power and faith. I'm your host, Alan Levi Simmons. Yes, I am Alan Levi Simmons, and welcome back to the Purpose Pod. We are excited to start off this day with Jeffrey Cuthbertson. I'm so excited to have him, and we're going to talk about mindset. We had a conversation a while back, March 21st to be exact, 2 months ago, about mindset matters, and we wanted to make sure that you guys were able to have access to that conversation. So we're doing it again, and we're going to have even a bigger and better conversation. We just want to highlight new things that Jeffrey has going on in his life. We're going to talk about things that he faces in his purpose pursuit, so that we can help you guys enlarge your territory. So let me bring Jeffrey on right now. What's going on, Jeffrey?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
Man, we living. Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull up this Facebook part so I can make sure I see all the questions if we got questions, and we're gonna get this started, brother. Man, I love the shirt. God plus therapy.
Appreciate that, man. It's a blessing, man.
I gotta know. So what inspired that shirt? What inspired God plus therapy?
It's that the individuals that come to me and say, "Hey, I pray for relief from depression. I pray for anxiety, relief from anxiety. I pray for peace." But after I got up from that prayer, I still feel anxiety. I still feel stress. I still feel worried. So what do I do, Jeff? And I always tell them, faith without works is dead.
Facts.
So you can pray all day long, but God is like, I gave you peace through that therapist. I gave you peace through that counselor. I gave you peace through that mindset coach. So it's on you if you're gonna actually go to that. And for people who do not go to that, they're the ones still walking around like God is not here with me. God is not walking with me. Those are the ones that are feeling like that. But those who put those two things together, you get freedom, man. You get freedom.
That's real, man. I definitely love that shirt. And like I told you, I need to go ahead and cop me one. I'm gonna cop me one. Yeah. So where can I go to get the shirt?
So you actually right now it's on IG. We go to Instagram, you go to God Plus Therapy IG page. There's a link right there in the bio. You click on it. Right now we just have the black the white with the black letters and then black with the white letters. We're coming in June 1st. We'll be launching some new colors. So definitely get connected. We're gonna have giveaways.
That's official right there.
Yeah, it's official. We're official here.
Mario said dope. Yeah, it is dope, man.
Appreciate that. God bless.
Yeah, I like that. And you don't usually and we're going to jump in, but I just wanted to, get a little discussion going. But you don't usually see that, together. You don't when I grew up, you didn't hear about therapy and God. You just heard about God, or you just heard about therapy. So why do you think those two have always been like opposed in African American churches?
I think it's a generational thing. I remember, like you say, back in our growing up days, grandmothers would say, "Ain't nothing wrong with you. Go pray about it." Or "There's nothing wrong with you. Rub some dirt on it." And it's like, Grandma, I prayed about it. I've been praying about it for 3 hours. Like, I still feel the same way. And so those individuals, and I think it's our generation now. It's like, all right, what else can I do? What else can I add to that prayer? What else can I do? What else can I do to that after I have that conversation with God? And God is like, this is exactly what I need from you guys. I need you guys to go out and seek help. And it says seek counsel in the Bible. It doesn't say pray to me and then it says seek counsel. So I think it's a lot of things. A lot of people, especially our generation and not generation, but our community, they fear the word therapy. They fear the word mental health and mindset. They fear those things. They say, "Oh, nothing's wrong with you. You're all right." For women, it's always, "You don't need a man." For men, it's always, "Don't cry." So it's like we're kind of raised in that, and now it's like our turn to say, "No, I need a little bit more help than just rubbing some dirt on it."
That's. I'm glad you said that, because it's almost as if our community as African Americans, like, we may need the most healing, and everyone else too, because parents, let's just say everybody, let's bring everybody on in here. So, everybody's on in here because parents have that ability to either build a strong child or crush a child, and it's by their words. Usually you got parents that are like, "You're stupid, you're dumb," or "Ain't nothing wrong with you, you're just retarded." Like, you just hear stuff like that. And those are things that people who love you say to you, So when you go to school and then you get, "Oh, you got a big nose. Oh, you got a big forehead. You got a big lip," whatever, all that stuff happens, and then so you get this person they go to church, and God is great and God is good, but therapy is also great and good as well. So yeah, you just don't really see those things, mesh together. And I'm glad that shirt highlights it.
I appreciate that, man. Humble by that, man.
Yeah. So were you always so you growing up, was it God plus therapy, or was it until you became an adult that you started to incorporate that in your life?
It wasn't until I became an adult, honestly. Growing up, therapy wasn't in our household. My father and I were my father was in the household, and we were close, but we weren't the I love you, the full house hug you every Sunday, every Friday type thing. It was more of a, if you had a situation or we had a disagreement, we'd sit down and watch SportsCenter. Literally, we'd sit down and watch SportsCenter, or sit down and watch that Monday night football game, or back in the day it was WWF, like
WWE, right?
Yeah, WWE. And then, like after that, we don't care. We don't talk about it anymore. We don't bring it up anymore. And so it wasn't a lot of therapy. It wasn't, hey, let me effectively express my feelings and thoughts to my parents. It was, I'm just gonna hold this in until it's going to go away. And ideally, and actually, and essentially, it does not go away. It just stays inside of you over the years and over the years. And before you know it, you're passing it down to your kids. They're passing it down to their kids. So with this shirt, it's my goal to like break the generational curse of my family, and break the generational curses of our community, to say, hey, you can pray and still seek therapy at the same time.
Right. Wow. Now, so this your shirt is a good talking piece, brother. I'm just all right. We gonna sit here for a little bit because it's a great talking piece. It's not just a shirt, and it says a whole lot. Like, we're having a discussion about history now. We're having a discussion about family right now, and you said a lot of prominent things that are happening in families, and it still happens to this day, where you have, let's say, the dad and the son, or the mom and the daughter. They have some type of disturbance, or the husband and the wife, they have some type of disagreement, and the therapy was never involved because, we don't need therapy. We're just, we'll just continue on. And you got a lot of unforgiveness. You got a lot of brokenness and hurt and all of that stuff. When it's never addressed, then you get, I feel like when that stuff is never addressed, the family grows apart, at this point in time. And then you get 30 to 40 years old and you look around at your family and you're like, wow, it's just, I was just telling my wife this. I was like, a lot of families nowadays is just a husband and a wife. It's no longer big mama, grandma, uncle, aunt, and all my cousins. So what do you think about that? Like, with like, how did this happen? For families to be like, what, we're going to let this build up and never address it. Why is it that we choose to do that?
Yeah. In my personal opinion, it's the intentionality of these things. We always talk about how the Bible says train the child up, and we're always quick to say, okay, that means I need to discipline my child. But we don't add in the other factors of that. Like, I got to teach my child how to express himself. I got to teach my child how to be respectful. I got to teach my child how to save money. I got to teach my child how to be independent, financially independent, and not worried about, COVID-19 coming in there and they're not able to survive because I didn't teach my child these things. So when that Bible says train the child up in the way it goes, it's like every single aspect. So like, if you do not really teach your children how to effectively express themselves, when they get into their marriage, they're not going to be able to do it. And so their marriage is going to fall apart. Or when they get a child, they're not going to be able to say, hey, are you okay? Is everything okay with you? The first question I ask my son when we FaceTime every single day, I say, hey, how are you doing? How's your mind? And he always says the same thing, but I ask him that same question every single day at the beginning of our conversation, because I need him to know that I don't just care about your well-being physically, but I care about your well-being mentally.
That's good. That's really good that you're incorporating that. And I'm not sure if that was something that happened to you, or like you just started doing because of your position right now. But that's a really awesome thing. And for those who are listening, just involve your kids, like Jeffrey is saying, like, you're involving your son in the conversation. You're not just talking at him, you're talking with him, and you're having a discussion with him. So that's just life-changing right there. But I really do hope and wish that soon, and very soon, families can get it together, with the God plus therapy, because a lot of families in America, I mean, you just got a whole, if you go all the way from the family to the community to the government to the society to the culture to the world, you keep expanding like that. you get to see why things are the way they are, why incarceration rates are high, why, people are committing suicides, why there are so many broken families, right? I don't,
Right.
I don't know what the statistics say, but that's just what I believe.
I think it's completely honest. It's like, not only do you teach your children how to express themselves, but you also teaching them how to listen. And that's another thing about the therapy part. It's like, I can listen to myself. If I can sit here and listen to you express yourself, I can listen to myself express myself. And once I start listening to myself, now I'm working on this kind of what we probably going to go into. We talked about what we're going to talk about later on. But now I'm working on creating that solid foundation with myself, off my self-awareness. I understand, hey, I'm going through this. I'm aware that I'm going through this. Yeah. And so now I need to do something to help me along this path.
So that's when you get into that mindset portion.
Yeah,
like you have to make that choice, that mind choice, right, or that decision. I'm making up words. Mind choice. You have to make that decision to do, or to go get your therapy, to go get treatment, to go. Yeah. So you have to be intentional. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah. And therapy is not always something that you got to go because you got something going on,
right?
Or some type of stress, or some type of a feeling that you're feeling at the moment. You don't have to always go to therapy because of that. Therapy can be because everything is going well and you just want to maintain it. Floyd Mayweather is one of the best boxers of all time, but he still trains, he still practices, he still, even when he doesn't have a fight, he's still in the gym doing something to perfect his craft, to prepare him when he goes into that ring. And so it's the same concept with us. When we go into therapy and nothing is really wrong, we're just preparing ourselves. We're just getting our tool shed of all these coping mechanisms that we have to be able to pull out to fix the problem when the problem does occur. Because we all know a problem is going to occur.
Yeah. So when you bring up coping mechanisms, is that our way of not addressing the root of the issues?
Not necessarily. I think the coping mechanisms are a way to address the root of the issue.
Okay.
Coping mechanisms is a way to relieve the first blow, if I may say, like the first punch to the stomach, or first punch to the head from adversity, or from the enemy, from a first attack. And I was like, okay, boom, I just got hit. Let me step back and let me go to my coping mechanism to calm myself down, so I can see everything and see the right move I need to make to make this a growth movement and not a movement that put me down into depression.
Okay, so it could be a good thing, but couldn't it also be a bad thing, to where like you have bad coping mechanisms where that's when you get into the pill popping, drinking, whatever it is, to kind of ease that. So and then that's what you have your background with, substance abuse, so is that other people's coping mechanisms when they go through things? And I know for sure, like, that was one of mine. So what do you do in that situation when you're leaning on bad coping mechanisms?
So yeah, I do have a professional and a personal background of substance abuse. Right now I'm substance abuse counselor here at a local methadone clinic here in Richmond, Virginia. And I noticed that a lot of people, we call it self-medication. And a lot of people will see a problem or see adversity or see pain or see struggle, and then turn to what is the norm for them. What's something that was used to be recreational and exciting to them, that now it's turned into a crutch for them. It's like, I can't get through life unless I'm able to do this marijuana or heroin or opiate or cocaine or what have you. On a personal level, I dealt with that after my divorce some time back now. And I remember the Hennessy boy was my coping mechanism. The Hennessy bottle was like legit, like a girlfriend almost to me, where I would come home and I thought that I was feeling comfort with this. And when I say come home, I mean on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, drink half the bottle of the 750 milliliter boy, and like in the dark, laying on the couch, and like by myself, isolating myself. I was depressed, my anxiety, my worry. How can I be a good father? How can I ever be a husband again? Like, I felt so many people, and these are thoughts that I'm putting inside my head.
Right.
And so because of those thoughts that I'm putting inside my head, my body responded to that, and we ran to the alcohol every single day. And on Fridays we get 2 bottles just because it's Friday.
Just because it's Friday.
It's Friday.
Man.
It was bad.
Man. Yeah, I mean, but that's real though, and I mean, I'm right. I understand what you mean, bro. So, once it seems like once you hit that wall, and I feel like everyone has that wall. A lot of people haven't been through that right there. A lot of people have just been through some stuff, and they're like, oh man, I can just get through it. But there's a wall. Everybody has a wall, I feel, or a hurdle that they can't get across, and it usually ends up, hurting them in the process of trying to overcome it. And then you go to the coping mechanisms, and so how do you start? When do you notice that you're slipping into that stage? Because is it a stage? Is it like, okay, like you could be going through a divorce or going through PTSD or going through a traumatic experience, and you'd be okay for a while, and then next thing you know, something else may, you have a bad day at work, and that bad day is the one that trips you into the deep dark depression.
Mhm. It's one of those things where I've noticed on a lot of my clients, I've noticed when they get to that point of deep dark depression, that almost quote unquote like bottom, it's the moment where they realize that they can't find peace in anything.
Yeah.
No matter what they do, where they go, no matter how hard they try, they just can't find peace. And it's the only thing they want. And so since they can't find it, the body, and they're telling themselves that they can't find it, the body and the mind just says, well, if we can't find it, this is how we're going to operate, and this is what we're going to do until we find it. And sometimes it takes them down to even darker level, to the point where they just stop looking for it. And now you're messing with suicidal thoughts. You're messing with overdosing. You're messing with severe isolation. Now you're messing with you're also flirting with clinical depression. A lot of people use this word depression, and it's like, it's not really, you're not really depressed. You're just stressed out because you have a bill that came out of nowhere. So I challenge people to make sure that you're using the words correctly. Don't just say, oh, I'm depressed now because 2 or 3 bills came out of nowhere. Don't say that, because now your body, you're actually telling your body that, hey, we're depressed. And guess what? Your body's going to respond to what you just tell it.
That's good. So like training your mind.
You have to
and so that's why it's the impact, I guess, because you're making that impact in people's lives. And the mind is the vehicle of the body, so if the mind doesn't work, the body isn't going to move whatsoever. Nothing's going to function the right way. And it seems like what you're saying is like, if we continue to pollute our thoughts, even in our minds, and that's why the Bible talks about casting down all high things, all imaginations that uphold itself against the knowledge of God. So it's literally like when you start thinking about all that negativity and everything that God doesn't say you are or who you are, you end up drowning in your worries. So yeah, and I know it's scary, bro, because you can't, like when you see it's almost like, in the movies where you see the whole the light, and then the light's getting like smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're slipping into this darkness. That's what I feel like depression is for me.
It's easy to fall into if you don't, if going back to that self-awareness, if you're not fully aware of not only who you are, but whose you are. Like those two things are critical. You got to be fully aware of who you are, and you got to remind yourself that over and over and over and over and over. I was reading the book. We have about 50 million, 50,000 thoughts a day.
Wow.
And 80% of those thoughts are negative.
Wow.
So that only leaves us with 20% of positive thoughts. So we legit have to be intentional about our thoughts.
Yeah.
Because we're always, the first thought is always going to be, oh, I shouldn't have did that, or I could have done better, and I'm talking to myself. I can't count how many times I've done speaking engagements, came home and said, I could have done better. That was horrible. Instead of focusing on that, I actually probably touched 2 or 3 people, or focusing on the fact that people were lined up to meet me personally, focusing on the fact that people, they're asking me to come back. Instead of just focusing on those things, I'm focusing on the negative. And if I continue to focus on the negative, I won't be prepared for the next time I speak, or the next client I have sitting in front of me. And now I can't give them my all, and I'm not going to be able to impact them or be a great mindset coach to them, because I'm so worried about the negative things.
That's the real thing. It's so crazy. If we don't control our minds, then we could be destined for ruins, or we could just be going into our own destruction, self-destruction. So corrupt thinking is like self-destruction. You
Yeah.
continue to put those bombs in your own mind, and then boom.
The self-defeating actions, self-defeating vocabulary words, self-harm, like
Yeah.
all of those things. You just legit you're committing suicide on a daily basis.
Wow. So it starts with the thoughts then. So suicidal thoughts are, oh, well, I'm going through this. I don't think we internalize or try to process everything while we're going through it, because when I was sitting in my room, so like this one clear night when I was sitting in my room, like about to just end it all, I had the pills and I had my gun. And at this time I had, I was still hanging out with people, but I wore a mask, I would call it. So I was always smiling. Like, I'd be like, oh, yeah, hey, yeah. And then when I got by myself, I was empty, So I can see how they talk about a lot of like famous people. They're like, oh, but they had millions and they had all these people who loved them. But when you're in that dark place, I literally was like, no one's here to stop me. Like, no one who cares about me is here to stop me. So who cares about me? And that's what I told myself. So what words do you have for someone who, they're going through this COVID-19 and, they lost a family member even before COVID-19 or in COVID-19, and they find themselves, leaning on those coping mechanisms that are not positive. What advice would you give to them before they reach that dark place?
Situations like COVID-19, situations like a death of a best friend, a death of a family member, a loss of a job, a divorce, such as myself. Those situations, I love to call those beautiful opportunities to find my foundation. I love to call them beautiful opportunities, and because those situations God allow. So one thing about God does things for two reasons. One, because he loves us, and two, because he's protecting. He wants to protect us. That's the only thing he does them for.
Yeah.
And when he takes away someone, it's because he wants us to start. He wants us to become closer to him, so we can be protected and so we can feel love. So one thing I challenge people when they're going through situations like this is to understand your foundation. Who are you solid in the bottom of your building? We have amazing buildings in California right now. Amazing homes. They look great on the outside. Look amazing on the outside. But as soon as a storm comes or earthquake comes, they come sliding down.
Crumbles.
Mudslide.
Yeah.
And it's because their foundation is built on sand. So if you can build that foundation on rock or bedrock or whatever, something solid.
Yeah.
So when something like COVID comes, or something like a death comes, or something like a loss of a job, or a loss of a family, or something like that, when that something comes, you're able to go back to your solid foundation and remind yourself who you are and whose you are. And so I challenge people to make sure, create a mission statement. McDonald's, Wendy's, all of these companies out here, every company that you ever worked for, have a mission statement. They hire and they fire based off that mission statement. They create policies and procedures based off that mission statement. Any company that you work for, when you get an audit, the first thing they say is memorize that mission statement so you can tell them what the company is here for. When you speaking to clients, make sure you tell them your mission statement so you can tell them what you're offering. And I challenge people to create a family mission statement, a relational mission statement, and a personal relationship mission statement. So when struggle comes, you can go back to that mission statement and say, okay, my actions need to copy my mission statement. My actions need to speak the narrative of my mission statement, because I know if my actions speak my mission statement, I can rebuild my building back up on a strong foundation if the storm comes or earthquake comes.
Yeah, I love that whole analogy, like with the building your house on the sand, and because when that storm does come, and they do come,
they're going to come
so often, they do come. But when those storms do come, and your house is built on the sand, and then bam, it's knocked down, that's when people start panicking, and that's when people started buying all the tissue in the hands. Because the storm came and people started tripping. The storm came and they realized they weren't on good foundation.
It's amazing how you see so many people panic because of the storm coming, and then they just forget who they are, and it turns into panic mode. And then when you're in panic mode, it's like, honestly, I've done it so many times where, like just today, I was panicking because I didn't think I was gonna be back in time for this, and I'm all over. And my wife had to remind me my foundation. She's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Why are you running?
Straighten
Relax.
up.
Yeah, just straighten up, relax. You're gonna be you're running around. You can forget what you're going to say, or you're not gonna be able to give a good interview if you just keep running around and just relax. Sit down. Do we need to pray? These are things that my wife was telling me. They're reminding me bring me back to my foundation. It's like, you're right. I'm a child of God. God's gonna protect me. The enemy may try to put this time thing on me and say, you're not going to make it. You're going to be late. You're going to forget everything you're going to say, or you're going to forget all your knowledges. You're going to forget all your stuff. It's not going to be a good interview because you're going to be late. And God is like, why are you listening to that? Did I tell you you were going to be late?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I was able to shake my head. I was able to
right.
And I was like, okay.
You was able to cool off some.
Right.
Right. That's real though, man. And so worry and stress come with the storm, but you don't have to respond the way the storm wants you to respond. You can, if you, oh man. So like you were saying with the mission statements, and I love that, is the family mission statement, the personal mission statement, and the business mission statements. I think it's so powerful because when that storm does come, like you said, you can reference back to, oh, you know what? This is in my mission statement. This is who I am. You know, when you're not feeling so courageous and you turn cowardly or you get a little fearful, you know, you have that mission statement from when, you know, usually when you write a mission statement, you might be standing in like a bold stance, you know, when it comes to writing your mission statements, because you're saying like, these are the things that I am going to uphold in my business or in my marriage or in my relationships, you know. So that's something that you talk to a lot of your clients. You talk to them about, or just people you counsel and teach. You talk to them about writing mission statements.
Yeah. So usually around session 3 with my clients, we go into their mission statement. Session 1 is usually building rapport. Session 2 is usually like, hey, here's my story, so you know who you're talking to. And then session 3 is more like, okay, let's figure out who you are. Right. Let's figure out what person I'm talking to. Let's figure out what you're dealing with, and let's figure out how we're going to handle those things. And one way to figure out is to build that foundation. Session 3 is that foundation builder. And so then now we can build the levels of the building. We start building the levels of your marriage, start building the levels of your life, because now you're on a sturdy foundation. Think about it. You ever seen one of those buildings that may blow up? The whole thing doesn't fall. You still have some pieces of that bottom that you can still build on top of and still create a solid, a new building, a new life, a new chapter, a new business, a new marriage, a sustainable marriage, a sustainable life. And so, I definitely talk to them about the mission statement so they don't forget who they are. That's one thing about when you're dealing with the adversity, because a lot of times being a perfectionist can cause you to make you forget that who you are and what you're capable of. I remember when I first started the speaking thing, I would tell my wife, I'm such a perfectionist. I would tell her, look, baby, I need like 12 slides behind me. I can't do this speaking thing without 12 slides, an outline, presentation points. I need about
words on there,
bullet points. You know? I need all of that. I need it. She's sitting there looking at me like, boy, you have no idea how your passion and your story alone will cultivate peace into a room, will cultivate inspiration into a room, will cultivate motivation in the room. All you just need to do is stand up there. And I remember the first time I said, you know what, okay, let's just stand up there. Now it's like, give me my opening slide, give me my ending slide, and I'm just gonna go in between.
That's real though. And I love how your wife has seemed to support you throughout the whole time. When you're freaking out, she seems to be like, nah, she seems to be smacking you to get your mind right.
Yeah, what you doing? What you doing right there?
On track. What are you doing? You know, as a man, you know, like our minds, I mean, as a human being, I'm over here, you know, always, you know, being specific. Yeah, I'm man, the black folks. I'm sorry, y'all. But but like you don't hear this talked about like with African Americans or minorities or just men in general. You don't hear anything about therapy. You don't. I mean, you hear it sometimes now more than like back in the day. You didn't hear it as much. But I know a couple of guys are coming out now like, yeah, I get therapy. I go to therapy. You know, and for me, I was running from therapy because, you know, when I went to the VA in Virginia for the Veteran Hospital, when I was going through my PTSD, it was not a good experience for me. And I don't know if, well, it wasn't even, I guess it wasn't really therapy at that point in time because I didn't have a set person sitting me down. Someone sat me down and said, if you feel like you want to harm yourself, we could lock you in this room and take your shoestrings. And, you can't say when you're ready to go. We will let you go when we think you're ready to go.
And give
I
you
said,
one
well,
of them cookies, make you hug yourself.
yeah, I was like, give me the pill. Yeah, I know, right? I was going to be a jack and everything. I'll probably pull up. but, man, so I was like, yeah, just give me the pills then. I don't want that room to give me the pills. And I went home with the pills. And I got a whole bag full of the pills I used to take from the VA, man. And I had to quit taking them. But I wish I had someone to sit down with me and to really like dig inside of my mind. Like, hey, what is going on in your mind? No one really sat me down to do that. They were mainly just pushing me all the pills that I have. So what do you think about that? I know, pills are good. Some people really do need pills, but what is your take on, people having pills for medication versus like just a natural process?
Well, my personal opinion is before you even decide to take pills for PTSD or clinical depression, going back to your foundation, know who you are. Like just reminding yourself of who you are, because sometimes people will use those pills as another crutch, just like alcohol. Some people will say, well, I can't get out of bed until I take my pills, or I can't come outside until I take my pills. And now you're relying solely on your pills. And God is not, he didn't give you pills to overcome stress and anxiety. He gave you a mind. He gave you a sound mind.
Right.
He's not giving you sound pills. He's giving you a sound mind. And so I caution people, just like I caution people to use the right words. I caution people to run straight to pills for ADHD, or pills for defiant behaviors, and pill for Adderall and Xanax and all. Like it's still a medication. It's still a form of an opiate, just a lower dose of an opiate. So I challenge people to, if you're going to use those and you feel like you need those, also add in the prayer life, also add in your foundation, also add in your I am statements. We'll get to that too. Like also add in your I am statements, also add in your list of grateful things, like the things that you're grateful for. Because now you just have so many things that, let's say you do run out of your pills, you can say, you know what, I still know who I am. I don't need those.
Oh, are we good over
here? I don't need those pills. You got me?
Yeah, I got you. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can easily say I don't need those pills because I know my foundation. I know who I am, and I know what I'm grateful for, and things of that nature. So I just caution people on using the pills like that.
So you mentioned the I am statements, and you want to go in there, because a lot of people, when they use the I am, they usually have I am backed up with something negative, and that usually just tears down the whole entire foundation. It breaks. So like I like what you got going on here, because I'm seeing a house being built, and I'm like, oh, the foundation, is having that mission statement, having a solid mission statement, and so now we're going into the I am phase. What does that phase look like?
So here's the thing. I love these new IG counselors and new IG motivational speakers and all of these individuals, but it's kind of just like God plus therapy. It's like a lot of people would say, go pray, and then you'll feel better. And a lot of people would say, hey, listen, change your mindset, change this, don't stop going, and then you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. And then you got individuals who leave that conference or leave that session and say, okay, what do I do? Because I was motivated.
What's next?
But 15 minutes later, 15 minutes after that session, it's like, what do I do now? Like I don't feel like I felt when I was in that conference. And so I love to back my statements up with logical, practical things to do, such as I am statements. I challenge every single person in here, after you create your mission statement, a solid mission statement, send it to me. I'll check it out for you and review it for you. But after you create that solid mission statement, now you're going to move into your I am statements. Your I am statements is going to kind of reflect your mission statement. Personal story about I am statement. My wife, we were dating. She wouldn't let me in the house. Of course, she's a godly woman. I'm not letting her. So then we started getting serious, and she started feeling comfortable. So she let me in the house. We're watching movies and stuff like that. Of course, I'll go home. But I remember seeing sticky notes all over her house, like these huge sticky notes, just all over the townhouse. And I just see like you say, I am successful, I am a good wife, I'm a producer, I'm number one, I'm strong. It's all of these, just everywhere.
Yeah.
And I remember when we got married, I moved into your house, left my apartment, moved into the townhome. And she said, "Hey, baby, this is your house now. Do you want me to take the I am statements down?" I said, "Absolutely not. Don't ever take them down." She said, "Why not?" And I said, "Because they trained you and grew you up to be who you are today, who's the woman that I actually fell in love with. So don't ever take them down." And so it's one thing to write these statements down and then put them in a notebook, put them in your drawer, and not see them again. But you have to see these things you have to see them every single day. I keep mine in my phone. Sometimes I used to keep a little small laminated piece of paper beside my keyboard at work. So when I stress out, I can go like, I am mentally strong. I am at peace. And so now it's like she sees them before she walk out the house. She sees them when she wake up. Every single room you walk in, there is a sticky note. And I told her, when we move to our house, you're gonna put these sticky notes right back up. You need to continue to see them over and over and over. And here's the crazy thing: they're so critical. They're more critical than brushing your teeth. To be honest with you, we brush our teeth because we know the consequences of what happens if we don't. Our teeth gonna fall out. You're gonna get joked all day. You're gonna put that mask on and you're gonna fall out. Because of your breath. But so you brush your teeth every single day. And it's because you know the consequences. So now you have to say, okay, I'm going to read my I am statements every single day, because if I don't, I know the consequences. I know what's going to happen, which means I'm going to fall to the attacks of the enemy. I'm going to fall to stress. I'm going to fall to doubt. I'm going to fall to depression. And then next thing you know, I'm start falling deeper and deeper and deeper because I'm losing my mind and I'm not remembering who I am and whose I am.
Right. I just got to snap. I'm snapping, everybody. I'm snapping. So is it? Do you have to be strategic in placing the I am stickers? You know, like so let's say someone wanted to start today, you know, and they were like, "Oh, I want to do I am statements around my apartment or house." You know, so like you go in your car. Do you is there certain I am statements you leave in certain places? Like I leave something in my car, I leave something at work, leave something in the bathroom. Like, what is it? Do you go about it that way? Like a strategy? I am beautiful. You put that on the mirror. You know, I am on time. I am productive. You know, you put that at work. You know, do you do that?
I don't do that because I keep mine in my heart. I say mine regularly. Okay. Anytime something happens, I get real quiet. And when I'm quiet, my wife knows he must be saying his I am statements. Yeah. And so that's a personal preference. So now we're moving into the realm of self-care. Okay. I can't tell you how to take care of yourself. I can't tell you how to build your self-esteem because it's called self-esteem, not other people's esteem. So if you need to put I am beautiful, right? If you put I am beautiful on the mirror for yourself, then keep it there. If you need to put them in special places, then do that. Me personally, mine are everywhere. Like I said, in my phone. I see them so much that I know about there in my heart. So I remember a story, another personal story where my wife, she had lost someone, it was about 2 or 3 months ago, had lost her uncle. And so we had to drive to Durham, North Carolina. And from Richmond to Durham, North Carolina is roughly 2 hours. Yeah. And she know I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get dressed and get prepared and go to be at the clinic for the methadone clinic by 5:30. That's when dosing starts. Yeah. And so we went down, I think it was a Thursday, because I know I had to work the next day. So we went down and she said, "Hey, babe, we're going to leave no later than 9 o'clock. So you get back by a decent time, you get some rest." And we did not leave that place until probably like 11 o'clock, maybe 12 o'clock. Yeah. And so I was furious because, I mean, you know how our community does, our culture does. We're in the streets and we're talking with her cousins and stuff. She's in the house with the women and her mother, her aunts and grandmothers. And they're sitting at the table. And by the time my wife was pregnant, and they're just talking about baby stuff. And I'm like, y'all talk about this on the phone every day. Why can't we just talk about it? So I was fuming when we got in the car. And I knew if I opened my mouth, it would have been a 2-hour argument. A 2-hour argument, just back and forth. Yeah. You know, because I would have said something that, and the argument went from you knew what was going on to it went from that to you don't need to talk to me this way. It would have been that type of argument. You know, well, you don't need to talk to me this. Yeah, we were just going back and forth, and nothing would have got done. So instead of opening my mouth for the first 45 minutes, almost an hour, I had to repeat to myself, I'm at peace, 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 I'm at peace. And I hope you guys are hearing this. I'm at peace,
Yeah,
I'm at
that's
peace,
good.
I'm at peace, I'm at peace. And so over and over and over. And so my body just started, I felt the tension just calm down.
Yeah.
So the first words that were said that were said or spoken in the car was, I apologize. And that was both of us. I apologize. And so the ride was much more peaceful. I was able to relax. We brought God into our car. Like it was amazing. So when I
we didn't have to leave him.
Right. I woke up the next morning full of energy, and I knew it wasn't but anything but God.
Yeah.
I knew it was nothing but God that gave me that energy, that burst of energy to get up after a nap. I'm maybe gonna say I went to bed after a nap and be able to still pour into individuals who need me.
Yeah.
God is going to take care of the vessel. When he called you to that call, he's going to take care of you. You don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to worry about getting enough sleep or getting enough energy. If he called you to be a vessel, he's going to take care of that.
Yeah. That's good. I like that. And you just gave some great relationship advice, Mary, right there for the people in the back. For the people all the way in the back.
I might change myself to a relationship coach.
Yeah, relationship coach over there, man. I mean, that's real talk, though. You know, because you don't want to stir up anymore. You made the decision to first sit in the car and say your statements instead of like, oh, I got something to say. I'm about to say it. I'm tired. You know, I'm tired. You know, I got 2 hours to go to sleep. And you know, like I know she's pregnant, so she's gonna want me to drive. You know, so like you gotta go through all that. Yeah. So I think that's awesome, and that's one way to keep your foundation. You know, when the storm does come, because the storm does look different and different. It could be a kid. A kid could make you. A kid could push you to that level, you know, to where you like, you know, I'm about to snap. So go back to your foundation. Go back to your I am. So in your practice, so I know you deal with substance abuse, defiant behaviors, and I wanted to go into that because with defiant behaviors, you get a lot of criminal activities that happen because of defiant behaviors, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I was a probation officer for 13 years. I did juveniles and then I did adults, and currently I do in-home counseling with inner city youth. And they're normally diagnosed with defiant behavior. Oppositional defiant behavior is what the diagnosis really is.
Yeah. So Sonia says good stuff as normal. Sonia Allen.
Hey, Sonia.
So I have a question. What are like when you have people with depression, and you know a lot of people don't talk about depression a lot because they don't want people to, you know, oh, I don't want to play my little what's it called, my little guitar or violin or my little violin, my little violin, you know. But a lot of people don't want to go out there and tell people about the problems, and I guess that's why it's great to have a coach and a counselor, you know, going through difficult time. So what's that process like for getting a counselor? So if someone wanted to come to you, you know, because they're going through difficulties, or even if they're just living a great life and they want to maintain that life, like you said, what is that process like?
You mean to get to me personally, or just someone like to get a counselor?
To you or to get a counselor, or what's that process like?
I mean, so it all depends on what type of counselor that you're looking for. And where do you live right now in your perspective areas, whether it's North Carolina, Charlotte, Virginia, DC, New York, there's a whole calendar of counselors available. And so our best friend right now is YouTube and Google. Right. All you gotta do is type it in. And let's say you're not comfortable reaching out to an individual. And it's funny you say that. Here's two things I just popped in my head. Thank you, God. It's two things that just popped in my head. Where when someone says, hey, I'm dealing with depression and I'm dealing with anxiety, but I don't want to go talk to no one. You remember growing up back in the day, and you would say, Mom, I'm hungry. And she would say, you better go in there and get something out of the refrigerator. Right. I don't want nothing in there. And she gonna say, well, you ain't hungry.
You ain't that hungry then.
So it's the same
That's
concept
facts.
where you're saying you're depressed, and then someone says, hey, well, I have someone that you want to talk to. Oh, no, I don't want to talk to them. Then you're not depressed. Because if you're truly depressed, you're gonna be want to do whatever it takes to get out of that state of mind. I was truly depressed. I mean, crying with only $500 in my parking lot, and in my pocket, sitting in the car at the parking lot Ruby Tuesday with a bill, a $900 bill I got to give my son, a car note, a car insurance, like bills on top of bills, rent, everything, like so many cell phone bills, just piling on, and I just remember just crying. And now you get to a point where you say, you know what, I would do whatever it takes to get out of this state. To get out of this state. And so here's the thing. The other point I was going to say, those individuals who I ain't going to say scared. I don't want to say scared, but just apprehensive about going to counseling and sit down and being vulnerable with someone. I challenge them to find a podcast. YouTube is full of motivational speakers, full of motivational interview videos, full of recovery videos. If you're dealing with addiction, if you're dealing with divorce, all you have to literally do is go to YouTube and say motivation for divorce. And just now you're kind of opening yourself up to people pouring into you. Perfect person for me is E.T. I love him to death. Like I listen to him all the time. Had the opportunity to meet him personally. He's an amazing. His podcast is amazing. His story is amazing. And it's kind of like you're going to therapy inside your own home. You can't say I want to get rid of this or get out of this state of depression, and you're in the club every single Friday. Or you're listening to the baby every single Friday. Nothing wrong with the baby. I actually like him. But you can't listen to him every single night and every single day and expect to get out of depression. What are you listening to? Are you doing COVID-19? You're so afraid. Are you watching CNN all the time? Are you watching NBC all the time? Or are you actually stepping away, turning the TV off, and calming yourself down? Like putting yourself in the position to win. Putting yourself in the position to have peace, to have to become mentally strong.
So you're a lot of it is on that person, us individually making those decisions. Like, what are we going to do to get it? Like, do we like ET? Like, do you want to breathe as bad as you want to live? Yeah. Or what was it? Did I say right? Do you want to breathe?
Yeah, you said right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I don't want to mess that up. ET, don't sue me. But but yeah, you have that, and then so if you don't have people in your circle who genuinely care about you, and you don't think they genuinely care about you, go on YouTube, go on Google, and look up what you may need. And I think,
and before you do that, I apologize. Yeah, I apologize to cut you off. But before you do that, you got to remember that just because you feel like there's no one caring about you, if you open up the Bible, God says it over and over and over. I care about you. Give me your cares, for the Lord cares about you. I could have said that completely wrong. Don't sue me. And I know it's in there between Genesis and Revelation, but it's in there. But he cares about you. And there's so many stories of people who reached out to God in the Bible of stuff that you're going through right now that you can say, you know what, I feel like him right now. Yeah. I feel like him right now. And so if he could do it, I could do it. You're no different between David. You're no different from Adam. You're no different from Goliath. I'm not Goliath, but Saul and all. We're all a human beings. We're all a human beings. We're no different from Jordan. Like no different from these elite athletes or these elite individuals who are actually reaching peace. The only difference is they're doing what it takes to get there. They're having the conversations with. They're communicating to themselves that, hey, I want to get out of this. And when you communicate yourself that you want to get out of it, you're telling your body, let's get out of this. Yeah. Let's control the narrative and stop letting people control my narrative.
Come on. And that puts a lot of people, you when a lot of people have to be accountable to their own actions, they tend to run from that very thing. Juanica says that's the Message version. Laugh out loud. That's the Message version.
You see her last name, so you know who that is.
Yeah, I know who that is. That's wifey right there. She said, you better be shouting me out while you on there before you don't have tonight. So I think where do we go from, the depressed state, and people who are going through depression, and they feel like they don't have any purpose, so how can you want to leave out of depression, or how can you have a desire? I know we talked about, very fundamental things that they could do, but when you're in that depressed state, a lot of times you don't know, like, man, I need help. Like, you don't even know, like, I didn't even know I was like that depressed. I didn't know, like, until I got to that point where I had the gun in my mouth and I was about to blow my brains out, kill myself. Like, I did not know I was that depressed until that very moment. That's when I knew. I was like, whoa, wow. I was scared of myself. I was completely afraid of myself, at this moment in time. And I was afraid the whole time, like, just thinking about, like, sitting on that bed, like, looking at the pills, like, man, so which way do I want to go? I'm sitting here with the pills and the gun. I'm like, which way do I want to go? And asking myself, well, how did you get to this place? Like, how am I at this place? I was thinking about 180 different things while trying to make the decision if I wanted to still live or not, So I didn't know that I needed to come out to the light until I was there. So is that what you experience a lot of times? Like people, they don't realize that they're down there until they're down there, until they're really, really at their lowest point.
I didn't. So it's different for every single person. Once you get to that point where you realize, me personally, I remember sitting in my mother's home because after my divorce, I lived in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I had an apartment there. Lost my job, of course, and I was still working at Ruby Tuesday as a bartender. And so I said to myself, I said, I need to start over. So I left Rocky Mount and moved again, still depressed, and it was even more of like a jab at my depression because now I'm like a 30-something-year-old male. And I'm moving back in with my parents. Now, mind you, my parents' home, I was able to live kind of away from. We had like a little section where my grandmother was living at the time, but I was able to the point where my mom and dad, the only time they knew I was there, it was my car was in the front of the house. That's how they knew. And so I just remember at one point I was sitting there and I just came home from work, had a drink in my hand. And my mom walked into the room and she says, "This is not the man I raised." Wow. And so this is not the man that this stung. This is not the man that I raised. So she reminded me of who I was.
Right.
With that one sentence. And of course at that time I didn't have any iron statements. I didn't have any foundation. All I had was the bottle. That's all I had. Like I was drinking emotional drinker. And those are the worst those are the worst type of drinkers. And so when she said that stuck. It stuck, and I said, okay, you know what? I need to do better. I need to do something different because I'm not only am I disappointing myself, but I'm disappointing my mother. And we all men in here who are listening right now, they know what that feels like when you disappoint your mother. It's like the women in here, when you disappoint your father, you know what that feels like. It's like these two people on earth, you don't want to disappoint them. And so I realized I was disappointing them. And the one thing I did, and it's crazy, I changed my environment. I moved, so I started applying for jobs back in Richmond. So it's kind of like God kind of took me back in a full circle. I graduated from high school, moved to Richmond, went to VCU, graduated, left there, went to North Carolina, came back to Chesapeake, Virginia, went back to Richmond, back to Richmond. And it's like now it's like when I came back to Richmond, it's almost like the prodigal child came back. It's like I found a church, I found some friends, I found like a solid circle. My environment changed. Now, mind you, when I first came back though, I was still kind of dealing with it, but I was dealing with it in dead-end relationships along with the bottle. And so the one thing I noticed that is once I started changing my environment is when I realized how depressed I was, how much of an isolation or the state of isolation that I enjoyed so much. Like I just enjoyed the state of isolation, just being by myself. I enjoyed how much I enjoyed just killing myself. I enjoy those things, and I didn't know it until I realized when I changed my environment and started being around people who were seeking God first, being around people who were receiving peace through the great divine, abundance of peace and unconditional love, and receiving things and just seeing how they flourish. And I said, okay, my life is completely different from that person. What's the difference between me and them? And I started saying, okay, I need to cut that out of my life because they don't do that. I need to start putting this in my life because they do that. And so it's kind of like a high school player saying, hey, I want to be in the NBA. Let me find somebody to mimic my game after. I don't want to be just like them, but I want to be influenced by them. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to work like them. I want to work after like Kobe. I want to build the body like LeBron, but I want the dedication like Jordan. And so it's like, okay, now if I put all of them into one player, I'm going to be a legend. So I say, I want the relationship that my pastor has with God. I want that relationship. I want the peace that my mentor has. I want the love that my homeboy has that he has for other people. Let me put all that in one person so I can become a legend.
Wow. I like how you did that right there. I saw the whole thing together. I was like, man, he's making a great person right now. He's like, LeBron, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson. Let me get these people. Steve Harvey. Here you go. But yeah, I love how you did that because it actually just helped me out a lot with just because when you get to a level of becoming, you find out who you are, you know, and then there's another level where you're like, okay, now it's about action. Now it's what am I
Right.
going to be doing with who I am, you
Mhm.
know, and then when you don't know who you are, that's when you usually go through depression as well. And so those I am statements back again, knocking that out of the way. So a lot of times I wrestle with that, like, who are you? Who
Yeah.
are you know?
Mhm.
I was standing in front of my mirror in the bathroom back in Virginia when I lived in Virginia.
Mhm.
Virginia was not my best friend, but anyway, nor like the Norfolk Hampton 757 area.
Yeah,
But
that's hometown right there.
yeah, man, it tore me up. I don't know what it my decisions in Virginia was not. Anyway, so but yeah, so I would stand in front of the mirror, like get real close to the mirror, nose to mirror, you know, and say, "Who are you?" I would look myself in the eye and say, "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" And I couldn't get an answer, Jeffrey. I could not get an answer for anything. I asked the same person over and over again, "Who are you?" And I had no response. So, you know, and I believe that it wasn't because I had bad people around me, you know, and it was that I might not have been putting the right stuff in my life, like how you were saying, like evaluating what you're putting in, bringing in your life. What are you listening to? What kind of music are you listening to? What so like when I looked at all of that, I was like, wow, I'm completely pouring in every negative thing that is not good for me. I'm pouring that in my life, and you tend to do that, you know, like how you said you were emotional drinking.
Mhm.
I believe that emotionally, I was pulling every negative thing that I could into my life,
Mhm.
and that just took me deeper into depression. You know, so it's just like so scary. And and the reason why I'm just staying right here and knowing who you are, the I am statements, and building your foundation is because you know right now there are people who are going through this, man. Like, you know, we can continue carrying on, having great times. Oh, we got our money, we got our checks, we got money, we got paid. You know, life is good. I can't wait till they open things up. We can be so ready to move forward that we forget about the people who are not making it right now. Um,
Mhm.
so just being aware of that, I just hope that people are being aware of what's going on around them and the people that are around them. And just real quick, I was with my wife and my nephew uptown yesterday, uptown Charlotte,
Mhm.
and you know there was this homeless lady walking by, and she like I looked at her, I was like, man, you know, like, sometimes I'll be like, man, I don't want to give you no money, I want you, you know, keep it in your pocket, but I couldn't fight it. The Holy Spirit was just bothering me, like, go ahead,
Mhm.
give her,
You gotta give it to her.
you know, and I was like, oh man. So I pull out the money or whatever. I was about to give her this five. I was like, nah, go ahead, give her that whole thing. So I was like, oh man. So I went up to her, I got out the car, I gave it to her, and like she was just like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like it was hot outside, first of all. And she walks away, and I just hear her saying, oh Lord, thank you, God, thank you. Like she was just walking away saying that. And you know, and now that we're having this conversation, I'm thinking about all the people who are walking by us
Mhm.
who are just waiting for us to notice them, waiting for us to notice that they're going through something, waiting for us to notice that they're crying or that they're sad, and for someone to say, "Hey, how can I help you? Like, is everything okay?" That's my little. I just want to throw.
That's good, man. That's good. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what God calls us to do, is just to love on our neighbors. And
Yeah.
it's like it's funny that you say that, because last summer my wife and I were in Chicago, and I
Mm,
don't know if you ever had deep Chicago true deep dish pizza. It's
mm,
probably the best pizza known to man. It's
okay,
so good.
too.
So next time you go to Chicago, let me know. I'm gonna point you in the perfect direction
Okay.
for some deep dish pizza. So we had some deep dish pizza, and we're on the way back to our. I think we were there for either my wife was speaking or we were there to see ET. And we're
Mm,
on the way back to the hotel, and older lady was at the hotel. You could tell she was just down on her luck. You could tell that she was just struggling. You could tell they probably was, and then a little girl was with her, and you could tell they was just hungry. And
mhm.
so the little girl was like staring at the pizza, and we were like, man, we were like legit talking about going back into this hotel room and
Yeah,
like sharing the pizza together and just having a good night with this pizza. Like
yeah.
we were like, we know this pizza is gonna be good. We're gonna put it in the microwave. It's gonna be so good. She kept staring at that pizza, and I was like, baby, we gotta give her that pizza. We gotta give her that pizza. And what we did, it was just like you just saw like peace just come over those two, and it was like the biggest thing or the best thing they ever received in like a long time. And it's just one of those things where, like I said, you don't ever want to disappoint your mother or your father. You definitely don't want to disappoint God. And so when you feel like you see that, it's almost like God smiling down, saying like, "Hey, well done, my son. Well done, my daughter."
Yeah.
And so that's one thing about God. Like I tell people, walk your life. This is one way you can keep out of depression: is walk your life as if God is with you the entire time, and say stuff like, "If I do this right here, will God be upset with me?" You know, work as if God is your supervisor. If I do this right here, will God fire me, or will God be mad at me right now? And if you do that, then you're already protecting yourself. It's kind of like putting a bubble yourself to block away or protect you from depression and anxiety and stress, because you say, you know what, God wouldn't let me do that, or God wouldn't want me to do that, so I'm not going to do that. Because if I know I did that, I'm opening the door for the enemy to attack even more. And the enemy, one thing about the enemy, he knows that he can't take away the blessings or the promises that God has given us. He knows he can't take it away, because God's giving it to us. God is saying, it's yours. I just need you to take this path to go get it. And so what the enemy says, okay, I can't stop you in that path, but what I can do is I can throw doubt in that path. I can throw stress in that path. I can throw frustration in that path. And so once he throw that, it's like, okay, now I'm going to veer off this path. And God is like, where you going? What are you doing?
Right.
I can tell you to go that way.
Yeah.
And the enemy's like, that now you can't get to that blessing. You're not going to be a vessel. That's a vessel he can't use. So I'm happy. You way over there somewhere and your blessing over here. And that's the only thing. That's what it looks like when you face adversity and stuff. It's just the enemy trying to throw you off your track.
Yeah.
And God is like, your blessing here. What you just asked for is right here.
Yeah.
Just stay the path.
You kind of like hit my heart with that one, because you know, there's so many times in my life where I was like, man, you know, I did think like, oh, if God was here, would he be? And I already knew the answer. It was just like, nah, he'd be like, bro, you're fired.
Like, what are you doing right
now? God would have already fired me already.
And 90% of the time, if you ask that question, you already know the answer.
You already know the answer. You already know what it is. This is why you're asking anyways. This God, are you pleased with me? You know what it is. But you know, like I just, you know, when you said that, it's like, man, a lot of things, we could do a lot of things to make our lives a little better, you know, but it's putting in that work which makes it that hard. You know, it makes it hard to do it. Like, okay, let me incorporate God in my day today. So God, you know, before I yell at this person, or I have a ill thought in my mind about this person, you know, let me make sure, God, is this thought like something that you want me to keep in my mind? And it sounds so elementary, but it's real. It's genuine, and it can work if you apply it to your life. And that's the thing about therapy, is that you can receive therapy, counseling, but if you're not applying what you learn in therapy, just like what you learn from the Word of God, it just won't work. And when you mentioned the path, and you were like, yeah, that, you know, God has this purpose, and God has these things for you on this path. But if you don't take the path, you don't get the blessing, you know. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy, because like how you said, you went full circle, you know, back up to Richmond. I believe that you went, like, you got back on the path that you were supposed to be on. So that's how you got the blessings that you started getting. And same for my life. That was amazing.
Yeah. I just sometimes I sit there and I lay in the bed and I look at my wife and I look at my daughter, and I just say to myself, like, why didn't I just stay the path? why did I just stay the path? But but I'm grateful for it. So I want everybody to hear me out. I am grateful for my past. I'm grateful for the things that I've learned, because it prepared me for this. So maybe this was my path. Maybe this was. But I know for one thing, that I know when I step my foot on the ground in the morning, I do not move without asking God first. Hey, God, like you said, hey, God, I ask God, I say, God, you know me and you know my tongue. Can I go off right now? can I go off right now? And he will tell me, nah, nope, chill.
Yeah.
This is not it. This is not that time. Or he will say, protect your family. Oh, God gave me the green light. I'm going crazy. I'm going.
That's real. That's real, because, you know, in the Bible talks about the seasons. There's a season and a time for everything, right? And I'm glad that you just said that. That just freed some things in my mind, because people always perceive God as being this, like, oh, meek and weak entity. You know, like, oh, you know, God is all about love. Just you know, just love, you know, and like, you know, like God's a God of war too.
Yeah.
God, you know, so like there's a season and a time for everything. So in the season of getting your mind right, in the season of getting your mindset right and getting your family back, you know, fighting off these addictions, fighting off of these things that are breaking you down and making you miserable, there's a time for that too. There's a time for war against that, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, you can't be peaceful when somebody's walking in your house stealing your furniture. And I
Right.
believe that's what it's like when you're going through hell on earth, when you're going through
Right.
those mental battles. You're letting anxiety come in your house and steal your peace. You know, you're letting unforgiveness come in your relationships and break your marriages and break your relationship with your children because your children made you mad, and now that they made you mad, you don't ever want to talk to them again. You know, when the enemy, I believe that the war against the family has been since the beginning, like with Adam and Eve, with Cain and Abel. It's always been a war in the family. And what happens now is that you have all of us, and how we talked about earlier, you know, you have people going through these depressions, and people are saying, oh no, you're not going through anything, or oh no, you got ADHD, it's okay, you just need to pray about it. No, it's let's talk about these things, and let's bring them to mind so that we can move them out of our way, so that they won't be a hindrance to us any longer. You know, you have to talk about them. So yeah. Yeah, man, I just get a little fired up when I talk about it, because people don't realize how miserable a person could really be that are sitting right next to them. You
Right
know,
next to it.
right next to them. You know, and I fear that COVID-19, even though we're socially distancing and people have the 6 feet back up, stay away from me type thing, and you know, but we're not being aware of the state of mind. Think about the man that just, you know, passed away from the police putting his knee
Yeah.
on that guy's neck.
I
You
just saw
know,
that. Yeah.
yeah, I just saw it before our interview, and I looked at the video and I was like, my heart started breaking, because you know, you have this man, and I don't want to talk about race or anything. I'm just talking about humans.
A
You
human
have
being.
another human being putting his knee on another human being's neck on the concrete. First of all, I'm just like, dude, like, take me to the grass or something. You know,
Right.
like, don't on a concrete. You got your knee in somebody's neck. But overall, I'm saying that we as humans, we can literally sit and watch somebody being killed, or watch somebody being beat down, a mom being beat up by a man, or whatever it is, and we don't think that people are suffering from this trauma afterwards. You know, like, what about this guy's family? What about the kids in his family? People are going to be able to watch this man die for the rest
Oh.
of their life now because it's on the internet. You know, so my last question, because we've been on for an hour and 7 minutes, and it's been
Wow.
great. It's been great. It went by so fast. But so you know, during these times right now is a, I believe it's a critical time for people to go to God, and to go and also go to therapy as well. You know, going back into moving forward. I want to say, I don't want to say going back. I want to say moving forward from COVID-19. What are some great practices, you know, to sum up everything that we've talked about? I know we talked about setting the foundation, your I am statements, but like, what can we do going from here into our tomorrow and the rest of the week? How can we ensure that we are conquering anxiety and depression and empty thoughts?
So to sum up everything that we just talked about, I think that's where the question you
Yeah.
said essentially is sum up everything that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
The most I asked a lot of my clients this question: what is the most important relationship next to God on this earth? And a lot of people will say it's my significant other, my children, my mother, my father. Some people will say my best friend. And I would tell them, and I say, you trust that person, you respect that person, you love that person, and you communicate to that person, which is why your relationship is so solid with that person, that individual. And so then I challenge them. I say, well, for me personally, my most important relationship is myself. I challenge people to take COVID-19 right now. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, I can't wait till outside open up. I can't wait till we get back to normal." But are you mentally ready for that?
Hmm.
Or when you get back out, are you going to do the same things you did before you came back in?
Right.
Are you loving yourself right now? Are you trusting yourself right now? Are you communicating to yourself right now? And are you respecting yourself right now? These are the things that you need to do to yourself right now to be prepared for when COVID, when outside opens back up. Do you trust yourself to put yourself in situations and be able to get out of those situations? When God gives you the green light to say, go ahead, get out. And you can say, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You know, or do you respect yourself enough to say, you know what? I just had 2 glasses, I don't need another one.
Mm-hmm.
How did I can say no to that urge to go to another one? Or I know if I go back to that relationship, what's going to happen to me mentally. So I'm just going to say no to that.
Yeah.
You know, do you respect, I mean, not respect, but do you love yourself enough to take care of yourself? Not just physically. A lot of people saying, oh, I'm going keto diet, I'm eating couscous and all that. But are you are you actually sitting down and doing that with your mind?
Yeah.
Are you listening to the baby every single day or all these other things? Are you more excited about listening to these verses than listening to Sunday service online? Because now Sunday services are online everywhere. It's like 12 services on Sunday. Are you I'm excited about Monday night 112 versus Jagged Edge. I'm there. But are you saying that with your pastor or the local church that has the web online services, when all you can do is just make your pancakes, sit in the living room and watch it? You know, and now are you communicating? What are you communicating to yourself?
Yeah.
What are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself your I am statements? Are you creating that foundation with your words? Because your words have power. Like you said, it's something simple, but that simple thought or that simple word can change a 2-hour conversation in the car to, hey, I'm sorry, to laughter, love, and peace.
Oh, I like that. Did you just end it on that right there? Did you just do that?
I think I just ended it right there.
I like how you did that one. You might have to keep that last part. I like that. That's right. That's nice, man. So again, y'all, Jeffrey has this God Plus Therapy clothing line. He's a counselor. So if you guys are looking for information or you're looking for some help, I know you mentioned that the individual therapy may be closed right now, or are you going back soon?
I think I'm gonna go back to it a little bit later. I think I'm working on how I want to do it, like via telehealth. I know a lot of people are offering that service, so I don't want to offer a watered down version of that. I like when I put my services out, I want people to know that you're getting the Jordan of my, I call myself mindset coaching.
Right.
I want you to let you know that you're getting the Jordan, the Kobe of the mindset coaching. So I am working on doing some individual sessions. I do have previous clients that I'm still working on. I never cut their services off, even though with COVID-19. So I am working on that. But like I said, I do have the God Plus Therapy that's on Instagram. If you go to God Plus Therapy on IG, there's a link in the bio that you can order the shirts. Stay tuned for giveaways, contests. Of course, there are going to be new colors. Right now, we just have the solid white and black. Of course, there'll be new colors down the line. On June 1st, I'm opening up the red colors. Like I said, if you go to Just Impact _, so that's Just Impact MPACT, not IMPACT. That's where you can find daily prayers. You can find every single day, Monday through Friday, I post a morning prayer up at 5 in the morning. Not because, hey, I'm just doing it just to be doing it, but that's my devotional time. And I say, okay, you know what, God, I'm gonna share my devotional time with whoever it may touch. So I post up that. I post up motivational pictures, some videos on Fridays. So again, please reach out to Just Impact for your daily motivation. Sometimes some people say, like I say, people don't want to go through a therapist and meet face to face. But this is a tool where you can say, you know what, I can read that, I can screenshot it, I can share it, and I can just move forward with it, with my life and apply it to my life. So yeah, man, I appreciate this opportunity.
That's some dope stuff, man. And I wanted to ask if anybody has questions, we will stay on to answer any questions. If you have any questions about things that we discussed, about mental health, about mindset, about depression, about suicide, about whatever it is you may have a question about, for a friend, for a family member, whatever it is, if you have a question, go ahead and ask it right now.
Let's do it.
Thank you all for everybody who's been watching. We appreciate you for watching. Please go follow Jeffrey on Instagram, Just Impact _ right afterwards. Just Impact, God Plus Therapy.
I got them all.
Sure you got them all.
I got so many pages. My phone is like.
Make sure you're following the Purpose Pod on Facebook. We are always going live. Follow the Purpose Pod on Facebook. Leave a review. Share the video, please. If you're on right now, please share this video right now. Please share the video right now. We need your support. If you have any questions, going once, going twice. So, but yeah, Jeffrey, man, I really do appreciate you. And this is you coming back. I had to make sure I brought you back on to get the official setup. I was like, I'm not gonna let Jeffrey slide out without making sure I get him right. So we right now, and this was a dope interview. So
yeah,
I'm excited, man. But as always, bro, I'm open and I'm here for you, bro. So if you ever need anything from me, I'm always supporting you. I'm always rocking with you. So you know that. If anything, man, I'm going to be rocking that God Plus Therapy shirt. So y'all make sure y'all go ahead and get that. I'm gonna have that on ASAP because I like that a lot. So but yeah, brother, go ahead and have a blessed day. Enjoy the day with your family. And until
one last thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know what I like to do when I end my interviews? I always ask the host, can I pray over you?
Oh, please do. I don't know.
Pray over everybody who's watching and everything.
Let's do that.
Awesome. Lord, we just thank you for this opportunity. We thank you for the opportunity to open up the doors and open up the internet ways for your presence, Lord. We thank you for your presence in this interview, Lord. We just thank you for your protection right now, Lord. I ask you to put your arms around the Purpose Podcast, Lord. Take it to high heights, Lord. Take it to levels of places that people need, Lord. People who need your words and your wisdom right now. I ask you to put your hands on Alan right now as you protect him as he goes forward and walk in your calling right now. We thank you for this calling, Lord. We pray his family is doing well right now. I pray strength and health over his family. I pray wisdom over his family. I pray knowledge over his family and over this man, Lord. We just thank you right now for this opportunity. I ask you to pray, bless all the individuals who are watching right now, all the individuals who commented. I ask you to touch their families right now. I ask you to touch their hearts right now. Let them not forget that they do not fall victim to depression, that they are not falling victim to anxiety, because you are King of Kings, you are Lord of Lords, you are Fathers of Fathers, and you do nothing but protect and love us. So we honor you right now. In your name we pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Appreciate you blessing us with that, brother.
No doubt, bro. No doubt.
All right,
man.
Jeffrey, I'm gonna holler at you, bro.
All right, take it easy, bro.
All right, you too. So this has been another episode of the Purpose Pod, driving you forward with power and faith, man. Jeffrey, I appreciate you once again. Thank you all for watching. Jeffrey killed it. He killed it. He killed it. Make sure you go back if you did not catch the whole episode. Please go back and catch the whole thing. We started off the jump. Jeffrey wasn't even ready for any of the questions. I didn't even send him the questions. He had to do all of that off the top, and he killed it. He did a great job, man. Great job. So please go back, because you need to have a great foundations and you need to work on your I am statements, because I'm going to do that as well. Make sure you go cop your God Plus Therapy shirts. Come back to the Purpose Pod tomorrow at 6 o'clock. The Purpose Pod tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Asia Cobbs is going to be on here. So we're going to do that too. So please be here. Love you guys. Stay safe and always live with the purpose. Peace.